it's just not for you. Like you wouldn't want to go. So now I'm interviewing for this position with this company that he's like totally kept a secret from me.
Wow.
It was during the pandemic and the world was like pretty locked down. We were living in Boston. And I remember that day, like the exciting things you looked forward to, like, oh, we're going to go for a drive today. So it was like a Friday and my husband's like, hey, you want to go for a ride? I was like, oh, I can't at this time because I have a call with WWE. And he looks at me in a way he's like never looked at me before. And I'm like,
That's
what?
you want to hear from your
and
he's
husband. Like, did you say WWE? I was like, yeah. He's like, who's your call with? And I'm like, Michael Cole. And he's like, Megan, he's the Joe Buck of wrestling.
You mean the voice of the WWE?
And I was like, are you into wrestling? He's like, I love wrestling. I'm like, how did I not know this about you?
How
like,
long had you been with him?
Oh, I mean, at least 3 years at the point. I'm like, you're my emergency contact, and I had no idea. So he's like, this is a really big deal. I'm like, it is? I'm like, because the call's in 20 minutes. And he's like, no, this is huge. So now I'm nervous. I'm like, oh my God, am I not prepared? What am I going to do? So I get on the phone with Cole and I tell him about myself. He tells me about WWE. He tells me, he says, how much do you know about wrestling? And I'm ready to lie. Oh, yeah. I watch it every week. And so I was like, well, he's like, please don't lie. I prefer to hire people who are not fans. And so I said, okay, I've never really watched. He said, that's okay. That's okay. We can teach you about the product. How about I give you a month? You watch the product and then I'll fly you down and you can audition. Like, all right, great. So I get off the phone and I look at Andrew and I say, we're watching wrestling. And he's like, yes.
Do you all I'm thinking about is his perspective. If my wife came to me and was like, Sam, I have a month to learn about WWE, I'd go, strap in. This is going to be the greatest month of all time.
So then I tell Andrew's mom, and she has books for me. She takes me into their basement. It's filled with all these action figures. And then come to find out, I remember there was Raw at the TD Garden, and Andrew was going with his friends, and I didn't even know like where he was going. He was very coy about the whole thing. He said,
so was he keeping this from you because he was like he didn't want you to know he was a wrestling fan?
I think so.
That's
so he was going to Raw at the Garden, but never told me like, oh, it's Raw, oh, it's wrestling. Just, oh, I'm going to this thing at the Garden with my friends. And I was like, well, is it sports? I love sports. Can I come? He's like, no, it's not really sports. It's just this thing. I was like, well, is it like a fight? Like what is it? No, it's just not for you. Like you wouldn't want to go. So now I'm interviewing for this position with this company that he's like totally kept a secret from me.
Wow.
So it was very funny. I remember we called his brother and he's like, Meg's got to learn about wrestling. Do you want to come over and watch the Royal Rumble with us?
Oh,
so
what a
brother,
great period of time.
Oh,
you had to learn during Royal Rumble time?
Yes.
And that's the funnest time ever. Realizing you get to like indoctrinate a new fan.
Oh yeah,
with the Rumble.
Yes, we picked. I was in a pool. I was picking numbers out of the pool. I mean, Bianca Belair won the Rumble. I was obsessed. I mean, as soon as she came out with the braid, I was like, "This is for me."